Jobless one here. Because I haven't got anything else to do, I think it's time we take these fellows up the hill and have a little bit of a splatter test. These are just some of the many that you can get, but it gives a pretty good comparison, pretty wide variety. Some of these are designed to be flash hiders as well. So we'll go through all of these that are available, widely available in Canada. There are a lot of things we can't get in Canada, which hopefully one day that'll change, but right from a screw cap, which doesn't do anything in terms of being a muzzle brake, all the way up to this fella, which I have affectionately christened Emil Muzz. Big, dumb, stupid looking. Thanks, Joe Friday. Come along, let's give him a try. Start the morning with some Java. Perhaps a cheese croissant, courtesy of Tim's.
How would you like to pay?
Cash? You can't take cash? No?
Sorry? Yes, we can.
Okay, I'll take that. Thank you. It's a beauty morning, guys. Okay, so what exactly is the plan today? Well, I'm glad you asked, if in fact you did. And the plan is to throw some paint onto the placard and then fire off a round of each of the muzzle brakes and see what it does. See how much air it pushes forward, how much it pushes off to the side. Will it even, on the sides, will it even kind of blow through the cardboard or blow it over? One of the things that's really important, obviously, is that we use the same gun and the same ammunition. So with that in mind, so we're going to use the Tavor, and we're going to use Nosler match grade 69 grain 223 ammunition. Okay, so not the 5.56, which if you watched my earlier video, you know that's going to come out with more pressure, so it's going to have a more of an impact down range. We're not really worried what's going on downrange today. What we want to focus on is what's happened when it leaves the muzzle. So I'm only going to demonstrate on the first one, okay? What we're going to do. So this is going to be a simple screw cap. Goes on the end.
Like so. No ports. No gas moving in any direction. No screw. Screw cap. Okay? So what we're going to do then is we're going to throw a pile of paint.
Like so. Strip of wet paint all the way across the middle. We'll have it folded in this way, end of the barrel, and right in the center. Fire through and see what happens to the paint and the cardboard on either side. So let's get to it. And we'll take that edge in place. So ultimately we're going to repeat that for each of them, and we'll take a look and see what the splatters look like. Probably try to catch it from a few different angles, lid cam, etc. So, screw cap going first. birdcage was a far more directed round, no side splatter. Very little damage there. There's a straight hole, a little bit of GSR. But when you compare that to the birdcage, and even worse, this thing, the amount of gas that shot out, that screw cap. So far the Sterling seems to be the best at directing things. Although, we did get some air coming out the sides, the side ports, which is to be expected. You can see some splatter there. So the foreport did a great job of pushing those gases out the side. The pressure that's equal across them tends to hold your barrel in place as far as your windage goes. Altitude's a little bit different, but nice straight hole. Didn't blast a big, just directed everything forward and to the sides. Manticore Afterburner now. The interesting thing about the Manticore is that it has 3 ports. It has 2, so you've got a 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and an 8 o'clock, or 7 o'clock. Well, 4:30 and 7:30. So you've got gas coming out the top that should hold the barrel down, and then you've got gas coming down at a downward angle on the other 2. This is a really unique break. So I'm interested to see what it looks like after we're done. One or two. That blasted a pretty big hole. Didn't allow it to go directly through, so it's pushing a lot of that gas forward into the cardboard as well. When you take a look at what the Sterling did, and or the Maple Ridge, you can see much smaller hole. So this, obviously the brown would have gone through as a very small hole, but it also pushed a lot of gas through to create a bigger hole. Oh, safety first. Now. That is something. So that directed, so these ports directed the gas back far enough, which kind of pushes the rifle forward as that gas is coming back. So it pushed it back far enough that it didn't even hit in here. Well, I'm going to talk about something directing gas forward. There's a 0.223 of an inch of a hole that's been put in there by the bullet itself, and the rest of it is all gas. Alright, Emil, let's see what you got. Very similar to the Flaming Pig, I would say. and then it directed virtually everything straight forward. Did it with enough force that it blasted a second hole, essentially through the cardboard, instead of tearing it the way the screw cap did. So that's the last of them. I'm not even going to hang up here to do my final thoughts with all these bugs. This is ridiculous. So I'm going to do that down the hill. It's time to pack up. Okay, so we're back now in the relatively bug-free environment of the garage. That was brutal. And I'm sporting what I would like to say is my ceremonial Steve Atwater jersey, but the reality is while it was Atwater's number, no Sean Moreno also took it. So this is a no Sean Moreno jersey. You guys will know who I'm talking about. Anyway, so let's take a look at the different brakes and Amazon. So let's take a look at the different brakes, and I'll see if I can get these things peeled apart because the paint's dried now. So first, at a price point of free, was the screw cap. No attempt to veil how it moves air. It's just going to fly out of the front along with the round. And you can see what it did. It basically splattered it everywhere. There is a small hole right here from the actual round going through, and then it was followed by just a blast of air that just destroyed everything around it. So because it was free, you're not really losing out on much, but not recommended. Next is the standard bird cage. Standard bird cage did not do much better. It's gonna be about $29. So that's this guy, and he's not going to get used anymore. Next, the Sterling arms, standard Sterling arms, which looks very similar to a bird cage, right? There's the bird cage, there's the Sterling arms. Now, what Sterling arms did was a much better job of venting air somewhere other than blasting it forward. Because the more air that's getting blasted forward, the more the force is pushing that the rifle back into your shoulder and throwing you off for your next round. So did a very good job of not blasting a bunch of air forward, right? Whereas the bird cage blasted a lot of air forward. You can see it's much larger opening at the front, much smaller opening. The other thing that it did, you can see that it did a pretty good job of pushing air out, but that air was also pushing down. So that'll have a tendency to pull your muzzle up when you're shooting. So the air going down is going to have a tendency to shove your rifle up. Not too bad though. That's standard on a Sterling R18. So pretty good muzzle brake there. Surprisingly, this one here I was quite happy with. This is the Maple Ridge Arms four port brake. So it's got two on each side. And you see a nice little hole in the center, not pushing a whole bunch of other air forward, and then it pushed out to the side, sort of equal. So pushing out to the side, what that's going to do is that's going to keep your windage. That's going to keep you nice and straight. It's not going to push the muzzle in any direction. So very much like that. In fact, I decided to mount that on my Sterling after doing this review. The disappointing one for me was the Manticore Arms Afterburner. No real evidence that it pushed anything sideways. It has 3 ports, one at the top and then 2 at the bottom. But what it did do is it forced a lot of air straight forward. Forcing that air straight forward again is going to pull the buttstock back into your shoulder. So after this review, decided not to put the Manticore Arms Afterburner back on anything. $79. The Rockstar, these are all stuck together. Okay, so for me, the Rockstar was the MDT Elite. right? So this has got 6 ports, 3 out each side, and it did a fantastic job of pushing no air forward with the round. And because of where the air hit, it was forcing the air back. You can see there's a little bit of a flare here, a little bit of a flare here. So it was actually forcing air out in a backwards direction. So those ports directed backwards really do a good job. I wound up putting that on the Tavor as a result of this. Now, oh, the MBT Elite, $125 on sale at Cabela's. Very good buy. The Noveske KX3, the Flaming Pig. So what it did is it blasted a heck of a hole straight through the cardboard. Unlike the screw cap, which sort of sprayed it out a little bit, this blasted it right out, which is fantastic if you don't mind having your shoulder snapped, or if you have people beside you at the range and you don't want the air hitting them, or you for whatever reason you don't want air blowing sideways. It's good for that, but at $199, it's not really doing what we want it to do. And the big disappointment Emo Muzz at $225, he really did not much different than the Flaming Pig. Whoops, than the Flaming Pig, right? There's a hole, there's a hole. Again, it's just forcing all of that air forward. So he's gone on my 22 because 22 you're not getting a whole bunch of recoil anyway. All of these muzzles were a ½ inch by 28. It's a fairly widely used thread. So in the end, for me, I would say that the 4-port from Maple Ridge Arms and the MDT Elite would be the 2 that I would say were the best from this. So thanks very much for watching, and hope you got something out of this. Tune in again. We will see you around the corner.